She was just 22. Doctors told her there was no cure. Her body was breaking, but her iman only grew stronger. Every night, she whispered dua with tears on her pillow. Ya Allah, if this pain brings me closer to you, then don't take it away. When her final breath came, her lips were still reciting La ilaha illallah. Her story will move your heart forever. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. The story I am about to share with you is not just about pain, nor merely about illness. It is about the unseen strength that Allah places in the heart of His servant when the body is weak, about the tears that fall silently on a prayer mat, about whispered duas in the depths of the night, and about the miracle of hope when the world seems empty. Her name was Maryam. She was just 22 years old, a girl whose eyes once sparkled with dreams of becoming a doctor, of serving the poor, of standing one day with pride in front of her parents as the daughter who fulfilled their prayers. But life had a different test for her. It began slowly, with exhaustion she couldn't explain. She would wake up tired, even after long hours of sleep. Then came the fainting spells, the constant headaches, the pain that rippled through her body like invisible fire. Doctors after doctors were visited, scans were done, medicines prescribed, but no cure was found. Eventually, one of the doctors spoke the words her family feared. This is a chronic illness. She'll have to live with it. We can only manage it, not cure it. Her mother cried that night, clutching Maryam's hand. Her father walked quietly to the masjid, his eyes red, whispering istighfar as he bowed his head on the cool floor. But Maryam, she didn't cry at first. She just stared at her hands, frail and trembling, and whispered, Ya Allah, give me sabr. Don't let me complain about your qadr. Days turned into months, and her world shrank. While her friends posted pictures of travels, laughter, and weddings, Maryam sat on her bed with a blanket wrapped around her shoulders, too weak to even comb her hair some mornings. But what the illness took away from her body, Allah replaced with something greater in her soul. Every night, when the world slept, she would drag herself onto her prayer mat. Her voice was weak, her body trembling, but her hands would rise, and she would whisper the duas that poured from her heart. Ya Allah, if this pain is your way of purifying me, then don't take it away. But if it is a test for me to draw closer, don't let me fail. Ya Shafi, you are the healer. No medicine works without your command. Heal me if it is good for me, and if not, grant me a heart that finds contentment in you alone. Her pillow knew her tears. Her sajda knew the weight of her grief. And slowly, she began to realize something profound. While her body was imprisoned, her soul was being freed. She felt closer to Allah in those fragile moments than she ever had in the days of health. One evening, her younger brother entered her room, carrying a glass of water. He was just 12, but his eyes carried a sadness far beyond his age. Appa, he whispered, why does Allah give you so much pain? You are so good. You pray all the time. Maryam smiled faintly and pulled him close. Do you know, Habibi, when Allah loves someone, He tests them. The Prophet said that the people tested the most are the prophets, then those closest to them in faith, then those like them. Maybe Allah loves me more than I deserve, so He gave me this to wash my sins away. Her brother cried into her lap, and she stroked his hair with trembling fingers. In that moment, her weakness became her strength. But there were nights darker than others. Nights when the pain was unbearable, when she felt her chest tightening, her breath shallow, and fear gripping her heart. Those were the nights she would recite Ayatul Kursi, Surah Al-Fatiha, Surah Al-Ikhlas, Al-Falaq, and An-Nas. She would place her hand on her chest and whisper, Hasbi Allahu la ilaha illa huwa, alayhi tawakkaltu, wa huwa rabbul arshil azim. Sometimes, she would write letters to Allah in her diary, words no one else ever read. One of them said, Ya Allah, I miss running in the fields. I miss helping Mama in the kitchen. I miss laughing without pain. But if this is the price to feel you so near, then I would choose this weakness again and again. Just don't let my heart turn hard. Let me meet you one day with a heart that you love. As months passed, Maryam's health declined further. But something else happened too. People around her began changing. Her mother, once consumed with worldly worries, began spending more time with the Quran. Her father, once busy with work, began leading longer prayers in the masjid. Her friends, touched by her patience, started making dua for her, remembering Allah more often. It was as if Allah was using Maryam's illness to heal not just her, but the hearts of those around her. One Ramadan, when her weakness was at its peak, she still insisted on fasting. Her mother pleaded with her not to, but Maryam smiled and said, "How can I give up the sweetness of meeting Allah in hunger and thirst? Every pang reminds me of Him." She would break her fast with just a sip of water and a date, whispering gratitude through her tears. Her father once asked her, "Maryam, do you ever feel like giving up? Do you ever feel like life is too unfair?" She looked at him, her eyes glowing despite her frailty, and replied, "Baba, this life was never meant to be fair. It was meant to be a test. Jannah is fair. Jannah is where Allah promises no illness, no pain, no tears. If my suffering here is my ticket to that eternal peace, then alhamdulillah for every ache." Her words broke him. That night, he wept in sujud, begging Allah to grant his daughter Jannah without reckoning. The day came when Maryam could no longer walk. She lay in bed, her breath shallow, her lips still moist with daiquir. Family and friends gathered, the air heavy with grief. But Maryam's face was serene, glowing with a light that no illness could dim. With her final strength, she whispered, "La ilaha illallah, Allahumma anta as-salam, wa minka as-salam." Her lips curved into the faintest smile. And just like that, her soul returned to the one she had loved so much. Silence filled the room. Her mother collapsed in tears. Her father clutched the Quran to his chest. Her brother cried out, "Appa, don't go." But her soul was already flying, free from pain, toward eternal peace. The janazah prayer was crowded. People who barely knew her came, moved by her story of patience. The imam spoke, his voice trembling. This young sister taught us what sabr truly means. She taught us that illness is not a punishment, but sometimes the greatest gift, for it brings a servant closest to Allah. May Allah grant her the company of the Prophet and make her a light for all of us. And so, Maryam's story spread. Her diary was found later, her duas read by her family. Each page carried a fragrance of sincerity, words that pierced hearts and reminded them of the fleeting nature of this world. People began sharing her story, and it went from one heart to another, igniting faith, stirring tears, reviving hope. Her life had been short, her health frail, but her impact endless. Because sometimes the strongest warriors are not the ones who fight on the battlefield, but the ones who whisper alhamdulillah in their sickbed, who smile through tears, who bow their heads in weakness, yet rise as giants in faith. Maryam's legacy was not in her career, her wealth, or her achievements. It was in her patience, her dua, her trust in Allah. And in the end, that is what truly lasts. If Maryam's story touched your heart, let it remind you to say alhamdulillah in every state, to whisper dua in moments of despair, and to trust that Allah's mercy is greater than your pain. Share this story so her legacy of sabr and faith reaches more hearts. For more inspiring Islamic stories, subscribe to Deen in Minute, because sometimes a single story can change a heart forever.